Character mouths are next here in Adobe Illustrator. Let's take a look at kind of where we're headed here. Make sure I have this in my recording window. I do. Today's all about creating some different mouth shapes and giving them different styles and things like that. There is no handout for this. If you hop onto my website, you'll see that today is for character mouth, but there's no handout for it. All right, so it's not going to be that difficult. You'll be fine without a handout. I'm going to show you a couple of tips and tricks in this movie and then turn you loose and off you go. 5 is your magic number. Listen to this. 5 is your magic number. I'm going to ask you to make 5 different mouths. They can be really simple to begin with, but also try a couple of things that are a little more involved. So here's what you're going to do to get this going. You're going to click File and click New and make a new artboard. And pick your orientation here, portrait or landscape, whatever you like. And we are ready to rock and roll. Now, I'm going to tell you here that a mouth could be as simple as this. You could come over here, click and hold, get the arc tool, draw a curve like this, give this stroke some width, and that makes the beginning of a mouth for me. Now, I am going to show you one little tip when you're working with strokes like this that I did with the arc tool. You can come over here to the stroke panel. It just looks like a series of lines on the right hand side. You may have to click right here on this little button and click Show Options. You can cap these lines different ways. Right now it looks like the line is just cut off, and if I do a round cap, if you're doing a mouth, sometimes that looks a little bit better. Let me deselect that and you can see what I'm talking about. It's got a round cap on the end of it, and that looks a little better. Now I'm going to rotate that just a smidge if I can get my mouse to cooperate here. And I might also just add one other little feature. Let me cancel that. That was an accidental click there. I'm going to make another little curve here with the arc tool. Once again, I'm going to take the black arrow and rotate that and just get it to park right on the edge of that, and bingo. It's kind of like a little smirky mouth. You know, it's turned down on one side, it's got that little crease on one side, and so I'm going to go ahead and select that and do Object and do Group. And you know, that one was really easy, not difficult at all. Now you could make, again, you could use the pen tool here. Let me show you a pen tool idea where I just kind of make a curve using the pen tool. I'm going to deselect that line. And again, because I turned on those round caps, you see round caps on the end of that. And again, here I'm going to take the arc tool to add a little bit more detail to it. I'm just going to make a curve, take my black arrow tool. I know I'm going kind of fast, but I think you'll see what I'm talking about here. And I'm just going to lay that right like that. Now, I want to do the same kind of thing on the other side of the mouth here, so I'm going to I could all drag it and rotate it. I'll do a transform, reflect, and copy, and give me that other piece right here, and park that right about there. And I really didn't mean to move this one. And so again, that looks like a smile with those little creases on the corner. And even if you just add something as small as that little crease on the corner, it makes a big difference when you're putting together an entire character. So I'm going to take that and group it together. It's just a detail that makes it look better. It just really does. Now here is a similar kind of thing. I'm going to start with the pen tool once again and make kind of a deeper smile here. And you know, you can, those creases and things could even be done just with a paintbrush. And I could draw that in with a paintbrush and thicken up the stroke on that a little bit. And the paintbrushes tend to be kind of round anyway, so I'm going to size that down some. That was a little big. And I want to show you here, and let me, while I'm talking, I'm just going to like alt drag that crease and bring it over. But I want to show you another little detail that we can add to this, and you see this again kind of all the time in cartoons. I want to make it look like there's a tongue sticking out here. So I'm just going to draw an ellipse kind of like that. I'll set it to its default colors to begin with, but I'm going to fill it with red now, and I may even take the stroke off of that. Now what I want to do is take that tongue that I have here, I'm going to tilt it a little bit, and I want to just kind of stick it on there like that, but I'm going to arrange it and send it to the back. Okay, now you see what I've got. Now this would look infinitely better if this back part of the tongue was not showing. Is there any way that we can do that? Well, I think that perhaps we can. If we take this curve right here and we assign a fill color. Right now this is an open shape that has no curve or has no fill color assigned to it. So I'm going to click here and just say let's fill that with white. Now if it was sitting on like a head that you were drawing that was filled in with a flesh color, you would want that probably filled in with some kind of flesh color. But for right now, to see how that's working, this tongue looks like it's disappearing, and really what's happening is it's hiding behind a white fill. So that little detail is kind of nice too. I'm going to go ahead and group all of that and move that out of the way here. All right, so there's another little trick that I wanted to show you here. When you're designing a mouth, that can be kind of a good idea. Now, let's go on to some other things here. Let's think about other mouth shapes. All I've done so far with these mouth shapes is just kind of draw these things with curves and arcs and the pen tool and things like that. And you certainly can draw mouth shapes a lot of other ways. All right, I'm going to make that circle that I just drew like the default colors here and maybe stroke it up just a little bit. And take my black arrow and alt drag it. And this second copy that I'm going to use, I'm going to widen it out some. And maybe make it a little bit more narrow, kind of like that. And I want to lay it in here so it's covering up part of the underneath circle. So you see the arrangement that I've got here. I'm going to close that stroke panel. I've got this arrangement where the circle is underneath. So I'm going to take those and select them. I've already got my Pathfinder open here. All right, so I'm going to do a minus front, pow, and I wind up with this kind of a shape. All right, well, again, see that's a very good, that's a mouth shape. That looks like a smile. It could be kind of elongated and things like that. But that's a pretty good mouth shape. Now let's do something with that where we maybe say, let's do draw inside. Right? Remember draw inside. So I could come along here and say I'm going to switch it to draw inside mode here for a little bit of time, and I want to get like the line tool. And maybe let's just draw a line that goes across there. And remember, when you're doing draw inside, the only part of that line that actually shows up is the part that is inside this mouth shape that I made. And I'm also going to draw some lines that come down this way. So we're going to have a nice toothy smile with those teeth together. And it winds up looking like that. Now, when you're done doing draw inside, you want to make sure that you go back to draw normal. And that way that's all kind of just automatically grouped together. If you select it, it'll just stay together. And so that's another possibility on drawing a mouth shape. Now and again, the basic mouth shapes, gosh, there's so many ways to do it. I could take a rectangle tool and draw and get the white arrow, and let me show you this idea here where I use the white arrow and I select these corners and I convert them. All right, and then I'm not sure that I'm going to convert these. I'm just going to kind of pull these closer together. Now this is going to be more of an angry kind of mouth, where somebody's kind of like got their mouth all it's kind of screwed up sideways and they're clenching their teeth together, and so this side of the mouth is wide open, but this side of the mouth is kind of just real narrow over here. And so I'm going to select that and I'm going to go to draw inside again, and I'm going to use a similar trick to what I did a moment ago. I'm going to kind of grit the teeth in there. I'll draw a line that kind of cuts right through like that, and some lines that cut through like that. And this is a mouth that would be showing like anger or frustration. The teeth are gritted, and because of the shape of the mouth, it looks like it's frustrated, growling. All right, so I'm going to go back to draw normal now, and there's another possible character mouth. Again, it comes down so much to what you're trying to produce. Let's try something like this, where I draw a circle, and I'm just going to kind of cut off the top of it, the top little bit of it with a rectangle here. I'll take my black arrow, get them selected, do a minus front on my keyboard, so I have this kind of a shape. Now, what I want to do here is go ahead and fill that with black, but next I'm going to do a draw inside mode, and I'm going to go get the ellipse tool, and I'm going to draw an ellipse about like that, and I want this to be filled with red and no stroke. So I'm going to take any stroke that's on that red circle, I'm going to take it off. Now I'm going to draw another one that's similar to that, like that. And this gives us that look that you see sometimes, and I'm going to take the paintbrush and kind of brush in like a dividing line, if it'll let me do it here. It's because it's red. I got to switch my paintbrush to black. But this gives us that look of a tongue inside a mouth, like that. Now I could do even a little bit more there. I could come along like with a rounded rectangle and say, let's throw in a couple of teeth up here. I want those teeth to be filled with white and stroked. Yeah, they could have a little black stroke on them. That's not hurting anything. So I could draw in some teeth. So now remember, I'm still in draw inside mode here. So those teeth, they kind of disappear at the edge of the shape here, like that. I'm going to go back to draw normal mode, and I have that kind of thing going on. Now remember, the teeth and these circles that made the tongue thing in that paintbrush actually was all done during the draw inside mode, and I created that basic shape of the mouth by using the Pathfinder. I'm going to show you one more, and then I'm going to quit. I'm going to be out of here. All right, so here's the last thing I want to show you. This is kind of a lipstick look. If you want to do like female real makeup looking lips, all right, I'm going to make sure everything is deselected. I'm going to start this with the pen tool. And I'm going to do like this. I'm just going to drop regular anchor points. Just click, 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 kind of come down here and click, come over here and click, come up here and click, and come back down here and click where I started. So it doesn't look too much like lips right now. Let me move this other mouth over out of the way for a minute. Doesn't look too much like lips right now. But again, and this is a trick that probably isn't going to surprise you. What I'm going to do is take the white arrow, select that top point right there, and convert it to a curve. And I'll do the same thing with this one, convert that to a curve. That's the top right side. Convert that to a curve. There we go. And then I also want to take this bottom point down here and convert that to a curve. Now the rest of it is kind of manipulating these curves a little bit and just kind of moving them around and getting them to sit where you want them to sit. And you know, you can remember, you can use, when you're working with the white arrow, you can use those handles to kind of reshape a curve a little bit. You can bend it, you know, you just kind of reshape the slope of the curve a little bit if you feel like you want to do that. All right. So this is kind of the basic shape of my mouth. I'm going to move this corner point out a little bit, widen that out some. Now I'm going to take the black arrow, now that I have the basic shape kind of the way I want, and I'll fill that with a real like hot pink kind of thing. You know, that could be a good lipstick color. And the only thing this really needs, to me, I mean, there's other things you could do, but what I'm going to do now is come along here with my paintbrush and just kind of divide it like that, so you have like an upper lip, lower lip kind of thing. And again, this is like, it's real thick, real vivid lipstick that you got going on here. I'm going to go ahead and group that together because it's separate objects. All right, so you're getting the idea. Now remember, 5 is your magic number. 5 is your magic number. 5 is your magic number. I want you to make 5 mouths, each mouth a little bit different. So when you get done, you're just going to save it on your network drive. You're going to call it mouth, M-O-U-T-H. It's right here on my big campus for you, character mouth. All right, so get in there and get a little experience and experiment a little bit and try this out and see what kind of mouths you can make. Oh, by the way, should have said this earlier, that if, you know, as like we've done on so many other things here, if you need a little inspiration, and again, I apologize for my laptop being so terribly fast. If you need a little inspiration, do an image search for a cartoon mouth. Can't type. And you'll get all kinds of possibilities there. All right, that could give you some inspiration for things to try. All right, folks, that's it. It's your turn. I'm out of here.